Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Experience podcast. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Experience. I'm Ben Crompton. You might recognize me from my other podcasts, Two Fat Brokers, How to Train Your Dragon, and Unforgiven. Today I am here with one of our agents, Alex Warren.
Hello, hi Ben.
Alex Warren has a really unique perspective on the real estate market. She was a leasing agent and she was so good we promoted her to sales. So today we're talking about behind the deal, wins, fails, and lessons from the field. You've obviously closed a lot of deals, Alex. You've got a lot of stories.
Loads of stories.
We're interested in hearing them. Most rewarding or toughest deal?
There's a couple. Are we talking leasing or sales?
Whichever.
Oh dear. Okay.
Here for entertainment.
Okay. So, there's a couple to discuss, but yeah, I'd say one of the more rewarding ones was something that I would have done recently. Couple months ago. It was just rewarding in the sense that, I had a buyer that was very willing, seller that was very willing. When you kind of bring two parties together, both are equally open to discuss, agree, close things, and really ready to transact. It just makes my life easier. It's easy to facilitate and mediate those kinds of transactions. So in terms of the reward,
You think you just got lucky because
the pay was pretty good too, so it was definitely
financially rewarding as well as emotionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I walked away with a pretty big smile on my face, but also, when you know that the clients are happy, sellers are happy, they made some money off of the deal, buyers were equally chuffed, so it was good. It was a win-win situation for everyone.
So how do you get a willing seller and a willing buyer? Obviously, so a seller, perhaps he's made a bit of money, he's invested in it, he's selling it as a profit, he's going to be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Buyer, he might be looking at, people like in this market, like, oh, what did he buy it at? What was the OP? He's making money off me.
Yeah.
How do you get that willing buyer?
Well, I think, this was just the buyer's circumstances. They were not residents at the time. They were also in a position where they didn't have too much knowledge on the market yet. They approached me at the right time. They knew already what they wanted. They had already friends here. They had a little bit of insight into what the product that they wanted. They basically came to me and said, look, this is what I want. This is the type of house I want in this project. They weren't even prepared to look anywhere else. My job was basically just to find them the right fit. And in that particular project, we've got a couple of units that are, let's just say,
the right fit.
And so I'd known about that unit sitting on the market for quite some time. I knew the seller and I kind of was dabbling with the idea a little bit. So I prepared him that, listen, I have somebody who could be interested. Is there any way we can set this up? And yeah, from there, it just kind of, it was like everything just fell into place. It was few building blocks, but nothing really standing in the way. We did have a few obstacles, but we ironed it out. Obviously, when it comes to the logistics of having an international buyers, there's a few little hurdles in place, as you would know. But thanks to you and all your lovely connections, we were able to make it work.
But I'll take the praise. Sure.
Yeah. Well, hey.
So easy ones are fine.
Yeah.
Come on, give us a tough deal.
Oh dear.
Anything blow up?
I can't mention names.
Best not to mention names.
I won't mention names, but I could say probably similar type of property in a similar community. You might know who I'm talking about.
I know nothing.
Let's just say it took us about 2 months to reach an actual MOU with the parties involved, and there was just a lot of back and forth. The sellers were very demanding on certain clauses that they had to have removed. It wasn't, it was just I would say it was the paperwork that was really, really draining. There was just so many delays. I would say the most stressful part for all of us was just the point of reaching the MOU to get it signed off. That took 2 months. I'm sorry, that's a long time. And
to agree a contract.
To agree to a contract.
Should have had a better lawyer.
Well, hey, that's why you stepped in, right? But it was tough for us. Obviously, I had my colleague Naveen, who you obviously know. She was a great support. And, but yeah, it was, again, we also had, luckily...
But the deal went through.
In the end, it went through, thank heavens. Because once we signed off, we had that ink on paper. Everything worked like clockwork after that. We had, the ball was rolling. Thank goodness we had buyers who were sensitive and patient and understanding of the process. But we did everything we could actually just to maintain that they would, just stick with us and trust the process. Because we explained, it's gonna be like this now.
It often happens in Abu Dhabi that you have to go around the houses, but you get there in the end.
Yeah.
You just got to stick with it.
It's tough. It tests your patience, because at the end, you really feel for your buyers as well in those kinds of situations, because these are people who are investing their life savings, right? Sometimes into these properties, and you kind of feel responsible in a way.
You are responsible.
You are. And so, you try and keep everyone happy. Sometimes you got to go to them with bad news. Sometimes it's great news, but either way, everybody wants it to go through at the end, right? So that's what we try to do. That's what we try
Weirdest
to do.
client moment?
Oh my goodness. Hey, I've got a recent one I can share. There was one very recently, yeah. So the gentleman, we're in the middle of doing business, literally. This is a big deal we're talking about. We're transacting, we're discussing paperwork, we're discussing steps now on how to lock this in. And I'm waiting for his vital response of we're ready to sign off. And this guy he just totally switches lanes, and he's talking about me having to send him recommendations on air purifiers. This suddenly became the most important topic for him. Air purifiers, yes.
For his new house?
Well, no, he doesn't even have a house here yet. That's the thing. I'm
But
wondering,
you were trying
where's
to
the
sell him one,
priority?
right?
We're trying to sell him one, although he's more of an investor. But little things like that, of course, we've got some... I'd say I'd had more experience with weird clients or weird experiences when in my leasing days. Unfortunately, it's been...
you see a lot more people leasing,
We
right?
do. Oh my gosh, you're running around, driving people in your car.
Well, have you got a good one of those from leasing?
Oh my goodness. Well, can I talk about times when I've had clients asking me to fetch them from their hotel when you've got taxis right there? I'm sorry. I understand.
Customer service, Alex.
I know. Hey, we do everything for our clients, but
We do.
yeah.
And have you heard of a taxi? Yeah.
I don't think many of them have. I don't think they know that you can just step out into your hotel and you're there.
Yeah.
You're probably
actually.
thinking,
Maybe they don't know where they're
Alex,
going.
what type
though.
of broker are you?
When I first came to Abu Dhabi in 2009, I used taxis everywhere, but I kind of expected the broker to pick me up and kind of show me around.
Is that part of the service though? I mean, I know that we do want to go the extra mile, and we really do. But sometimes, a lot of the times we do want to first have a client meet us face to face so we can be comfortable as well.
Yeah,
That's
true.
it,
It's hard to have a conversation in the car where you're driving.
Yes.
Kind of
At least
get
even
to
if it's
know
just
you.
a call, but if it's a client that's just popped out a message from Property Finder and he's like, hey, can you come fetch me at my hotel? I don't know who you are.
Yeah, that's true. Having a stranger in your car.
Yeah,
It's certainly different for girls than boys.
Yeah, so we do try to be mindful, but that doesn't stop us from still doing our job. Yeah, so we do.
Fair enough. Is there still a client or a property that got away from you that you still think about?
A client or a property that got away. There's a couple, yes. There's oftentimes, we'll have listings that we work on. As somebody who came from leasing now to sales, I've realized, it's so important to nurture your listings and to make sure that you stay on top of your sellers, right? So it's really tough when you get really close with your sellers and they really trust you. They're actually rooting for you to sell their property. But of course, I understand they get into the situation where they have to sell. And so they do start sharing the property with other brokers. So
What?
I know.
Outrageous.
The situation becomes time sensitive. And so, you're actively trying to share this and share it among your network of brokers and colleagues, and somebody beats you to it. And then it's that could have been in my pockets. It is a little bit of a heartbreak when that happens, especially if you've come so close before. And oftentimes we've had situations where, I've had situations where the seller he'll tell me, hey, listen, if you bring me this price, I will sign right now. I'll bring him that price, and then I'm like, here, are we ready to put pen to paper? And then it's no, I changed my mind. That happens often. And then it's a bit defeating in those moments, but you just get on with it. You say, fine, you just you roll with it.
I mean, I think in that first example you spoke about where the seller's like rooting for you to sell the property and someone else sells it, you almost must feel like, you're disappointed.
It is, yeah.
Like, but also on your client's behalf, right? Like he really was like looking for me to sell it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the client, someone else got the client.
Yeah.
Particularly when you build up that great relationship with someone where, they do rely on you, and because you haven't managed to find, the client, they've gone like, well, I'm gonna have to go out and, you must feel like a bit on me, why couldn't I do that? Why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
Whereas if sellers are, a bit fickle in a respect where they say, bring me this price, and then they change their mind, you're not going to be so like emotionally hurt by that.
Yeah, you try not to be,
Don't
but
blame them.
it still stings a little bit,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Every time you lose a deal, it stings.
Yeah.
But I think, the longer you're in the market, the less it stings and the more you just have to take it as,
for sure,
this happens.
But we lose clients as well often. I think we lose more buyers than we lose sellers sometimes, because again, I mean, that happens to every broker, and I'll be real honest here, like that happens. So there's no point in glazing over that. But I mean, again, I think every broker can say there's been clients that you spend hours with and days with and months with sometimes, right? You do so much, you spend a lot of time with them, you build that rapport, there's that real relationship and trust there, and then you're just not able to get that deal over the line because like either it's not the right unit or the seller's not ready or something. It's not because you're not a good broker, but then this hey, it happens.
It does, and actually with buyers,
and
with buyers, it's worse in a different way because you spend that much more time with them.
Yeah,
like you meet their families, the husbands, wives, the kids, and they're like, "Hey, this is Alex. She's gonna find us our home," and then you don't. In the end, another broker comes along and has a unit that
also
they want at the price.
The issue that we have as well is that the clients do go. They spend a lot of their time browsing online, despite our efforts to remind them, guys, look, I'm working for you. If you need something, if there's anything in particular, despite me already knowing what your requirements are, there is absolutely nothing I cannot pull for you. Just tell me if you do have a change of direction or you prefer to have a look into this project or that project. Let me do the dirty work for you. There is no need for you to contact and call every broker or every listing. You're going to waste your time. They're going to give you the go around. At least that's my job, right? We try to get that point across. A lot of the times they do get it, and then they're like, okay, I'll do this. I'll let Alex do it for me. I'll just send her a listing. She can cross-check and verify if this is actually real and accurate. But I would say that's a lot of the times how we end up losing clients, is because they've just picked up this listing online and they've just gone and called the agent directly. And so obviously that's their right to do. We try our very best to keep the clients in our pocket, but that's all comes down to trust, right? So, but sometimes the desperation takes over.
Yeah, and you can understand it. And also, I think some brokers will only try and sell what they have in their pocket, as opposed to going to the market and finding something else.
Yeah.
So, that's something as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever, talking about clients, have you ever fired a client?
I wouldn't say I've fired a client, but for sure I've had some clients that I'm like, hey, I'm just going to have to let this one go. For sure. I mean, I think
Why?
we've all...
Based on you can't help them?
No, it's not a matter of not helping them. I feel like, there's just clients that are, we've all dealt with this again. Clients that are really working with multiple brokers all at once. You've got an excellent product to offer them. You know that this is really a good unit for them. Obviously, the decision is always up to them. But then, again, it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to set up viewings. And also, the sellers are trusting us. They are relying on our credibility. And sometimes, we've got situations, I've got situations where the clients are truly just, they've got no shame in telling me like, hey, listen, I'm going to go view this tomorrow with this client. And like, how do I respond to that? Like, no, you can't. I can't say that to them.
Yeah, because then, you don't have everything in the market. It kind of,
Well, then I go back to, well, hey, if there's something you see that looks interesting, let me know. Let me do that dirty work for you and I will take care of it. A lot of the times they actually take that advice and they do that. But a lot of the times as well, they just do whatever they want. So, of course, I give it some time. I'm patient with the process. It is a process, but I also have my boundaries. We all do.
We do.
Patience is a virtue.
That not all of us have.
Exactly.
But anyway, Alex, that was a look under the dirty rug of real estate from a real estate agent who's done both sales and leasing. Thank you very much for those stories.
Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for hosting me.
Hopefully our listeners will appreciate them as well.
I hope
thank you
so.
for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.